So now that you're all fully wide awake from that DSP talk, we're going to bring it back a bit, and I've got the pleasure of introducing Ricardo to you guys. So come on, Ricardo, come in.
Hi.
This is Ricardo, everyone. And he is here today to talk about his latest project in building, building a music education app called Midicircuit. So take it away, Ricardo.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. So I'm going to talk about Midicircuit, this app that I set myself to build. Now we're like little team as well. So what is Midicircuit? Midicircuit is an interactive learning experience that is designed for everyone, that combines both educational and music-making content into one friendly package. At least that's the goal. But first, let's talk about the problem. I've always been frustrated by how difficult it can be to learn complicated MIDI instruments like synthesizers, drum samplers, samplers and drum machines. The included manuals don't teach you how to make music. They don't teach you important concepts you need to know, or even how to make beats. So we invented Midicircuit, which teaches beginners how to use complex instruments and helps them get started making music right away. So let's get started. Okay, it's a snippet of what Midicircuit is. You can interact with our lessons, and you can play around and learn new concepts right away when you buy your synthesizer. I'm going to show you what Midicircuit looks like. This is our latest staging build. Hopefully not too broken. Okay, great. Unable to load the build. That's already a great start. That is already a great start. Okay. Yeah, this is not good at all. Hold on. I think we're gonna still get there. Can you? Okay. I'm really sorry about that. This is the worst moment ever. Okay, I think we'll able to do this. Is there any way I can move? Yeah, like how I can. Okay. Okay, let's maybe. Do this. Hey. Okay, so this is not the app. I have to literally use our beta flow, sort of like Figma designs to improvise this. So when you get started, on the left-hand side, you have context about the lesson you're about to perform and instructions. And we try to keep everything in the middle interactive. And what you see would then communicate with your instrument and highlight the pads. And once you interact with the instrument or with the UI or with your finger using an iPad or macOS with your mouse. So we use all of these interaction points to give you an immersive experience, and so you get options and you don't feel limited. In this particular lesson, you just go and play around with the sounds. If I did have here, I do have my push there, but the idea is that you can also go and make a beat. If you're someone more proficient, you can just like live drum. And this is just our onboarding. Then we build up on the concept of sounds, and we introduce patterns. Then we build up a little bit further on it. We introduce tempo, so now you understand like rhythm as well. You can go from house to hip hop and techno and whatever you want. So this is the goal of this journey, was just to introduce you to the mechanics of Midicircuit. Then you can go and create your account, and you would land on the home screen, and you can see you already completed your first circuit. You can then add it to favorites. And then you can find more circuits to complete. As you can see, it's very much like targeting Ableton. It's just because it was we kept our beta phase focused on a product that we knew well and was complex enough as well to create our API so we can then transpose that that knowledge into other devices like Novation, Launchpad, which we're integrating with at the moment. This is another type of circuit. It's a circuit that you would be able to go through the instrument, and the instrument, this is all native, and you'd be able to communicate with your physical instrument. If you don't have the instrument, it's all good. You can still click around and learn a little bit about this. So this is pretty cool for teachers, where they can explain concepts, or kids can take away home and play with it, even if they don't have the instrument. But if they do have it, it's a more engaging experience. Okay. Boom. We're back in, and on your profile, you can track your achievements, your streaks, and do all the profile basic stuff. And here it's just basic settings. So I guess let's go back to the presentation. Okay. So what Midicircuit tries to achieve is help you master your instrument, learn music production workflows. We try to break down in simple concepts step by step, so you feel like you're progressing and learning concepts that you can then take and build on your own on a DAW, Ableton, Cubase, or any other place. Music theory, so you can play better. I've always seen people struggling, like how to learn how they can play, for example, a major scale on the Ableton Push or the Launchpad or other instruments. We also want to be able to do sound theory, for example, like synthesis. And we want to do all this stuff with deep integration, so it feels connected and engaging, so you love your instrument the same way a guitar player loves their guitar. I'm a bass player, and I love my bass. I literally want to sleep with my bass. So maybe one day you want to sleep with your MIDI instrument too. And we want to do this all in one place on Midicircuit. So let's talk about the tech, since we are here at the Audio Programmer Meetup. You're all techie. So the tech behind it is quite simple. There's always like some bits around and some other ideas that we try that are left over, or maybe we'll pull back later. But on the front end, we use Swift and Swift UI for the app, and everything that's audio and MIDI at the moment is handled by AudioKit. On the back end, we use Go and GraphQL for our APIs. And the content itself, the media, all the strings, all the translations and things like that, they live in Prismic, and they just like piped into our Go API. It behaves like a microservice, and then we consume that in the app. Yeah, that's it. And now I'm gonna give a little bit more context around the journey to get to here, to what you've just seen. I was actually at Ace Hotel. I had the idea for a while, and I was thinking about it, but I was at Ace Hotel, which now is closed, but it used to be sort of a creative hub around here in Shoreditch. And when I was sitting there, I always felt really inspired. And sometimes I would just hang around the city, in Shoreditch in particular, and I would work a little bit, and then I would go exploring, take pictures. And this day I was there, and I was like, I already had coded some prototype stuff just to get an idea of what we could do with particularly with Ableton Push. And I was like, okay, I'm going to create a landing page this time and validate if people are actually really interested in this. I created this landing page in 2 hours or so, and then I posted on Facebook groups, on Reddit, and within roughly 24 hours, 400 people signed up. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Like, there was almost no marketing, no money put into this, and 400 people are interested. So I was like, let's start building this. But to be honest, only 2 years later, maybe even more, because I was managing teams and I was focused on my career, and I was just always trying to find the right time to give love to this, and all the research I was doing as well on it. Only around the pandemic in November, I decided to take the plunge and invest my savings into this project. So I hired my good friend Delcio Batista, who's a UX UI designer, and he started working on the wireframes, and we started interviewing people that were in our early access user base. Some of them were music tutors. We were approached by incredible people, different people from everywhere, and we were like, well, let's talk to them and learn from them and try to build something that is, that they're gonna love. Then around April 2021, we built our first prototype. This time I had dropped the contracts that I was doing and I focused on building an MVP a little with Swift and Swift UI, basically replicating the whole design. After a couple months, I go back again, like sort of part-time because money is running out. I was paying my rent here in London, all those things. And I'm kind of, I'm not risk averse, but I can see like where things are going. So I go back into that, but we keep progressing. I applied to Apple Entrepreneur Camp, and then Apple chooses us to be a part of the Entrepreneur Camp, 8 people, and it was an amazing experience. We learned so much through the 2 weeks there, and we then do a demo to the Apple employees, and we get time to ask them questions as well, and get their help on a little bit on the code as well. So after the validation we got from like leaders at Apple, people that, for example, work with multiple music apps and work within the music platform itself, we felt validated, and we were like, and I said we need to accelerate this. So I then went and hired an iOS and macOS engineer to support me because things were really slow. And some parts, to be honest, I wasn't as expert as she is. I'll show you Dory soon. And yeah, then we started focusing, building a roadmap, focusing on getting to our beta and communicating more what we were up to. And even within us, the group, the little group we have, the team, just be more accountable and trying to deliver the things we promised to deliver. And our goal is to release a first version to the App Store around midsummer. And yeah, so what's next? So next is, I think we're going to focus on securing our seed funding round so we can spend time working full-time on this and giving the love it needs and building an awesome product, a magical experience. We want to add more content before we launch on the App Store. Then we launch on the App Store, and then we're going to start working on our creators program. We already were approached by multiple music experts, want to work with artists and schools and try to create like rich content experiences that will help people learn their electronic music instruments. So to do all of this, we need a great team. And here we are. I'm Ricardo, the founder. The other Ricardo, which not is over there. The other Ricardo, my co-founder, and Delcio, the product designer. Dory, Dorota Piachakova, our iOS macOS engineer who makes all the UI look nice and pretty. And our senior software engineer on the backend in cloud, Madhuri Kadam. And yeah, here are contacts. You can find us, you can email us at team@yonko.level, which is actually the company that I built to kind of like fund this whole thing. Our website is midicircuit.com, and you can reach out on Twitter at Midicircuit, or you can reach out directly to me. It's _TX Brown. And that's it, really. So thank you for listening to me. Do you have questions? I think there was supposed to, but like maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can make my mic live. Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, just want to ask, what's your target audience, like target user base?
Yeah. So the target user base, I wouldn't say everyone, but it's really people who either just right now it's people who just bought a MIDI instrument or they lent it from a friend, and schools. That's kind of like the audience we're looking for. We already seeing schools are adopting electronic music instruments into their classroom, In Europe, it's becoming mandatory to have at least 1 hour per week of music. And schools across US and Europe are adopting electronic music instruments and all this cool stuff that some people here build. And we can see teachers struggling to hold like some stuff like this to explain them. But if we build like some virtual versions of those instruments, that they can use them to do their job better or more easily.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask about focusing on macOS, like whether you had plans to sort of port this over to Windows at some point, and how you kind of decided, like, I guess you got to sort of wonder, like, I guess there's more people using Windows, but maybe more of the people using Mac are doing music or something.
Yeah. So typically, in this industry, people would use Juice. I spent a lot of time talking with Josh, making these decisions actually, and I'm not a fan of Juice. I'm sorry. I have a background in engineering, but I also have a strong background in UI engineering, and I just didn't want. I really like to create experiences that feel native, and I didn't feel like I could do that without spending a lot of time learning Juice on its own. Maybe it's possible, or trying to replicate the native experience. I think it would be too hard. So what I thought, and after I talked with a bunch of people, and then I was like, you know what? If there is money, there is a way. So if we do make enough money, if this thing makes sense, if someone wants to help us build it for Windows, it will happen. And we can have a team, and we'll make it as good as possible on Windows. Another option, perhaps, is using WebAssembly, converting our Swift UI views into native views, translate them to some web version on Windows. But I'm not sure, again, like, all this stuff is kind of like hurts me a little bit. But yeah, we will have to, though. We will have to. There was it's a little bit of pressure and other parts of this.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Well, big thank to our sponsors, Juice, guys.
I'm
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
I'm sorry I
Boo.
said that. But I have
Shun the
huge
non-believer.
respect for the project. Like, that's for sure.
Any more questions? We've got one over the back. You guys are getting my steps in today. Thank you. Come over to Hugh first.
Another technology stack question, but why did you pick Go on the back end? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I think Go is really simple. And I was used to, well, is this? I cannot.
I think you're on.
Here we are. Yeah, so at LUSH, I worked at LUSH, the cosmetics company, and we were using Go extensively, and I got more and more familiar. I'd built a couple of projects with Go already, and Go is just really easy to learn. That's the reason why we chose Go, and strongly typed. I felt like I wanted something reliable. Yeah, that's really it, and I want something like with high performance.
Are you okay for one more question, Ricardo?
Yeah.
I'll do one more, and then
One
I'll have
more.
to move
Yeah,
on,
cool.
I'm afraid. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really good to see you talk today, because in a way I have a similar parallel journey, but I'm at that stage. Basically, I'm doing like an AR music app, but I use Unity. But and I'm at that stage where I want to kind of build a team. And how did you find the right people, especially at a stage where the money will come maybe a bit later, and people that you can rely on, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question.
And how did you compensate them?
Yeah, exactly. So what I did was I took my expertise and sort of my social capital. I went contracting, and fortunately there's people willing to pay pretty well for my skills. Then I take about 30% for my own personal stuff, 70% I try to dedicate it fully to Midicircuit. And then I find people that are willing. I literally ask, like, how much you want? Like, oh, this is my price per hour. And then I interview them. There is no sort of like coding challenge. I'll pay you to work on Midicircuit for 2 weeks, and I'll see how you do. This is literally it. And so far, everybody feels happy. They actually, I think everybody is getting a good rate. Some people is a good rate like within their country, I think. So for example, Dory is actually traveling around the world all the time, and she's working part-time. So another thing is that the team right now is literally built on part-time. That I don't know, like even when we get funding, I'm not sure it's gonna be sort of worth the pressure of everyone being full-time on it. Because honestly, I want people to be happy and to and just get focused, deep work when they, come in to work. So let me just add up something else. One thing I noticed is that, sorry guys, but like women are really honest when they are interviewing, and guys tend to inflate. I think this is common sense though. Inflate so much like what they can do, the time they have available, where women would be like, I have this time available. This is it. This is how much I want to earn. This is how much I'm worth. Like, I want to go for it. And these are my skills. I don't want to do Go. I don't expect me to do this. I want to do this, and just you get that. And like, I'm really happy with Midicircuit starting with that foundation, and I learned so much. At LUSH, I had worked with other women as well. They're all doing great. So shout out to women, and shout out to the other sex. And yeah, that's really it's just to prove that there is space for women in engineering, and they do an incredible job. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ricardo. Thanks for your time.